You got CJ playing, and this is the Noize Report. Today, as you see to my left, my right, upper, wherever he's at
Wherever I'm coming in at.
on your screen, that is Mr. David Hulbert. Uh, he is a member of a band you may or may not know. If you're a metalhead, you should know this band. They are an awesome band from the OC.
Sir.
Called Bleed the Sky. And I had to do the interview because one of my favorite bands is a band called Reveille or Genuflect from Boston. And their second record was called Bleed the Sky. And as soon as I seen the, I was kind of like, oh, Bleed the Sky. I got to do this interview because it's like one of my favorites of all time. So
that's cool, dude.
Yeah. If you've never heard Reveille or Genuflect, essentially they're the same band, but due to legal issues, they had to change the name from Reveille to Genuflect. They were Boston's version of Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, cool.
Basically, if you mixed your music with Rage Against the Machine, it'd give you a good idea of what Genuflect sounded like.
Right on. Nice and groovy.
It was Rage Against the Machine on steroids. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
You know, it was that style of rapping, but with music that just beat you like a train. You know, like being beat over the head with a sledgehammer musically. So much heavier than Rage, but vocally, like
when had those hip hop influence,
yeah, like when Zach left Rage before they did Audio Slave.
Yeah.
I was the first one on the bandwagon, like, okay, this dude should be the new singer of Rage because he was Drew Similis or Drew Similares. Drew was essentially a younger, heavier, more aggressive Zach, basically.
That's dope, dude.
You know,
I've actually go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I've actually seen the Reveille Bleed the Sky stuff. Yeah, if you like online or whatever, like if you're looking up Bleed the Sky or whatever, that Reveille Bleed the Sky comes up as well. I've seen it. Yeah, I have seen that. I haven't listened to it honestly, but I've seen it.
Yeah, it's actually where I stole my webpage is actually Riot on the Set Media, and that's one of their songs. So I actually kind of
pulled
that for my webpage because I just loved it. It was like Riot on the Set, and I was like, oh, that's such a cool fucking term, like, you know. It's so authoritative. It was like, I'm gonna steal that. And I interviewed the guitar player, and he was totally cool with it. Like, he was like, he's like, I'm just glad somebody heard it. He's like, we felt like nobody even listened to it, and I was like, how could you not listen to it? Like, it was, you know. Back to you guys. Bleed the Sky.
Yeah.
Start with giving a short rundown on the band, the members, because you guys got a new singer. Recently, so kind of fill in a little bit of the blanks to start.
All right, sure. So we started in the early 2000s as you know, the original lineup started in early 2000s. I believe it was 2002. Put out the first record, Paradigm and Entropy, first major label release. And then, you know, we put out our second record, Murder the Dance, and that was with our original singer Noah as well. And then, you know, band kind of took a hiatus. Everybody did their own thing, like group, you know, families, all that good stuff. We all had kids and whatnot, and
life,
you know, life, and you know, about let's see, man, shit, it's been. My son was 15, so about 5-6 years ago. The guys, actually it was Noah, hit me up, our original singer, and was like, hey, you know, we're gonna be thinking about putting the band back together and doing some Weekend Warrior stuff, maybe write some tunes, you know, and go about it that way. You know, what do you think about that? You know, and of course, you know, I love playing music. It's just the way we're wired. Musicians are wired this way, dude. You know, it's not going to be something we can put down. You know, I'll be banging my head until it falls off, you know. You know, so we in 2020 we put out not Murder the Dance, but This Way Lies Madness. It was our third full length album. and that was the last full record with our original singer Noah Robinson. We put out another single after that, which was "The Devil Will See You Now" came out with Noah, and then it kind of just with the way we're trying to move and groove, and we don't want to tour full time or anything like that. Like, we still all have families, we're still all dads and everything, but we want to be able to put out music and stay moving, at this point. And Noah's life and everything that he had going on, it just we weren't moving in the same direction. Like, no hard feelings towards Noah, or I can't say any bad things about the guy. He's a family man. He's a genuine human being, and he's super talented vocalist. I mean, obviously, like Noah, one of my most favorite singers of all time, and I was blessed to have him in my band, but we had decided that we were gonna make some changes, and we picked up Rudy Flores, who's currently and still in So This Is Suffering, and we brought him on board with us and put out a song with him. And then that whole basically the feel of the band, internally, it didn't, we kind of jumped quickly. We got along with Rudy. They went on tour with us when we did the run for our last full length, and they're one of the opening acts, and we all got along on the road, and his voice was badass sounding and everything. So we were like, oh well, let's just pick up Rudy and this will be great, and then as we're starting to make moves and do our thing, like inside the band, just like personality wise, it just didn't work out. It wasn't our fit, so it was basically back to the drawing board. We didn't announce that we were going to be looking for a vocalist or anything. We actually our booking agent, he's actually works with Ember Throne, who is a band out of Sacramento that Monty Bernard, our current vocalist, is vocalist for as well. And Monty heard through that gentleman that we had let go of Rudy, and Monty was like, well, like, are they looking for a vocalist? Like, what do you think? Like, is this something like, would they even consider, and so he got Monty connected with us. And during that whole thing, I mean, it was like it was crazy, because as soon as we let Rudy did the press release that we had released Rudy, we started getting all these emails, and just like people like doing like vocal covers of the songs, and just trying to submit things, giving us a lot of material to go through. A lot of them were super talented folks, some obviously weren't what we were going for, but ultimately, in a nutshell, we ended up working with Monty. We gave him the tracks. He was able to work super fast. He's super motivated guy, and that's kind of that's what we need.
Right.
So Monty put a couple tracks together of the skeletons that we had, because we've been writing. We're constantly writing. We've got material that we're just kind of sitting on at this point, because we're putting vocals to it. Every song we release is like something we've been working on, and we bring these ideas to Monty, and he basically goes through it, and is the mad scientist. Him and Kevin, our guitar player, Kevin does all of our production. Kevin nice. records the band. We're all in house, at this point. But we released the Parasite with Monty. Had the pleasure of having Mark Hunter on that last track that we did with him. Monty, yeah, right. Super cool opportunity. And then we just released Soul Collapse a couple weeks back, and that one's doing great for us as well. So I mean, we've got another one we're working on that we've pretty much finished. We've got another release coming up pretty quick as far as that goes, and then planning on booking a tour up and looking at the possibilities of going out this year, closer to the end of the year, and making some moves, man. Get us back on the road.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I can say from experience that going out on the road, if there are any cracks in the band as far as personality wise, the road will absolutely out. Like, the last time I played music, many, many years ago, in the early 90s, we had a band called Psychotic Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And we make the joke now that we were metalcore before metalcore ever existed. we were doing this style of music that wasn't quite heavy enough to be death metal, but it was way heavier than anything else at the time.
Right.
So we were opening for all of the death metal bands, essentially. We were playing with Bolt Thrower and Malevolent Creation and Bork Nagar, One Man's Child. We played with all of those bands. And even though we weren't technically a quote unquote death metal band,
you still have the chops to hang out on, be able to get on stage and crush it.
Musically, we were death metal, but vocally, we weren't really death metal. Our manager got us in contact with Atlantic Records. We talked to Jason Flom. We went through the whole process. We're going to put you on the road with these two bands. And we ended up on the road with Crowbar and Pantera. Before Pantera was getting ready to release Cowboys from Hell, but they hadn't released it yet.
Gotcha.
And we were about 12 days into the tour, and we hit Louisiana, middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, and we pulled over. And there were three of us standing on the roadside, and we basically decided that we were going to prison or we were going home. But one way or another, the tour was over, because we were like, sleeping in Walmart parking lots, sharing a meal between 5 people. And we were just like, dude, where the fuck's the cocaine and the bitches at? Okay.
Right. It's not that, but everybody thinks it's like that. Yeah. You get out on the road, dude. It is. It's just you and your dudes. Like, that's it, man.
And this was like 1991. So this was before the internet, before any kind of promotion that you could do like you could nowadays.
Yeah.
So it was like, stopping at truck stops and calling home on the payphone and having to put $4 worth of quarters in the phone to make a phone call. It sucked.
Yeah, dude.
We were just like, fuck this. We were making back here where I live now. We were doing local shows and we were pulling in $500 a night doing local shows. And then we went out on the road and we were making like $30 a night.
Yeah, you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, and we were like, fuck this. We'll go home and just start playing local shows again, because we were making way more than this. And when we got back home, our manager was like, well, why'd you blow that deal? Dude, that deal sucked. Okay. And now I think back on it and I see all of the bands that Atlantic buried, like Wrathchild America and
Wrathchild,
Liar Rage and all of those bands that they just buried. And I laugh now because I'm like, oh, we would have totally got buried. We would have been one of the bands like that. They would have just buried us.
Put it on a shelf. Yeah.
Yeah. And then ended up owing them a shit ton of money. So I laugh about it now, but getting back on topic, like I understand the concept of, how personalities can definitely.
Well, yeah, man. And, even diving deeper into that, dude, like, the Wayne and Austin and Kevin and I, we've been doing this together for years, like we have a dynamic. It's, what I mean? And like, so it's the way that we operate, exactly. It fits and or it doesn't. Yeah.
And you know, that's the thing. Like you can't let, I guess the old saying is, one monkey don't stop no show. So, I mean, when you work as a unit, if the piece fit or not. And I'll say this, Monty sounds amazing on these songs. Like I didn't think.
No, he does. Yeah.
I didn't think you guys could be heavier than you were on the earlier stuff, but it seems like the two newer songs with Mark and Souls Collapse are even more aggressive and more heavier.
Yeah, dude.
More heavy than they were.
And that's just part of like, the evolution of writing music and creating, like we are all influenced by heavier bands. Cause I mean, I grew up on Pantera. I grew up, I'm 44 years old, man. So I Pantera and Machine Head and like, that was my shit, and then, as I get older, I just keep listening to heavier shit. So it's the same with the other guys. I mean, we all listen to everything from hip hop to, metal and across the spectrum. It's not just all brutal shit all the time, but I saw Prince on your wall back there.
And AC/DC.
Right. So
next to the Goonies.
Right. Which, dude, I love the Goonies, bro.
Got the Blue October tattoo on my hand. The Corrosion of Conformity.
Hell yeah.
Tattoo on my arm. So
badass, dude.
We've actually done shows with Corrosion.
That's dope, man.
I cried so hard when Reed died.
Oh yeah, man.
Reed was honestly one of the sweetest, coolest dudes that you will ever meet in music, and just a huge loss. Like I understand everything Reed was going through and whatnot, but he really was such an amazing, sweet dude, and he's the reason I ended up with this tattoo. Essentially, is we were drunk, and ended up in a tattoo parlor, and
it's like a tribute.
Well, we were drunk and we ended up at a tattoo parlor. Reed was going to get a tattoo, and I was looking at shit on the wall, and I had no idea what to get.
Yeah.
And Reed was like, "Dude, you should get a COC tattoo," and I was like, "Cool idea! Fuck yeah, let's do it!
Let's do it!"
And the guy's like, "What?" He's like, "Why would you get a COC tattoo?" And I was like, "Dude, think about it." He goes, right. I was like, "The only good thing about a skinhead is they're biodegradable." And Reed looked at me and he goes, "Dude, you actually fucking read that in the booklet?" And I was like, "Who didn't read that?" And he was like, he's like, "Dude, that was in like fine print at the very bottom of the last page of that booklet in blind."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Dude, I'm the geek who literally, when I buy a cassette or CD,
go through it all.
Read this shit from beginning to end, the credits, who's who, like I'm the geek who can tell you that Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band 9 Lives was recorded on April 24th, 1974 at Ypsilanti Studios. It was mastered by Bob Marlett. It was co-mastered by Rob Sagowski. I'm that dude. I'm that geek.
You got right. Plethora of rock knowledge.
Yeah, like it's good for absolutely nothing other than this. Okay. And people, why do you do a podcast?
Right. It's talk rock, dude.
Yeah, because it's otherwise I'm walking around Walmart and I'm that weird guy who's talking to strange. I'm that strange guy who's talking to people randomly about shit that they're looking at me like, "Who the fuck are you and why are you talking to me?" Like, so I always make the joke. I do a podcast because it keeps me off the most wanted list.
There you go.
So the song "The Parasite" with Mark Hunter.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to say this song. It's Chimera, right?
Mm-hmm. Chimera. Yep.
Chimera. Okay. Talk about that song because that is a badass song, man. And the combination of the two voices of Mark and Monty is.
Yeah, dude. It sounds badass, dude.
Yeah, it is
a like I was
brutally blazing song.
When we had the music for that song, at least the skeleton of it. Like I said, we have a bunch of pre-production because we're constantly writing, and we all have, our ability to track, or, you know what I mean? In our homes, we're blessed with all that, kind of like most musicians these days, but yeah, so we Monty had done the track and we had put it all together, and then Austin, our drummer, played drums for Chimera as well. When he went from Bleed the Sky, he joined Chimera and then did Devil Driver. He's actually doing the Chimera. He's doing the Chimera reunion shows here in Cleveland this weekend coming up. We're all flying out. I leave on Thursday for Cleveland to go watch Chimera for 2 nights. It's gonna be badass. Yeah, so are
they back together and touring again then, or
no? They're from Cleveland area, and it's the 20-year anniversary of the Impossible. I think it's the Impossibility of Reason was their second record, and it's the 20-year anniversary, so they're doing a show for it.
Oh, okay.
And
because they're from over near me. I'm in the Detroit area, so
okay, yeah. So they're doing 2 nights at the I think it's the Algora Theater.
Algora.
Yeah.
Algora Theater, yeah.
Yeah. So they're playing Friday and Saturday night down there, and it's gonna be badass. Dude, I can't fucking wait, dude. I mean, I've been listening to Chimera for fucking years. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, back to your question. Yeah. So we approached Mark about coming on, listening to the track, and see if he was gonna be down to do it, because he's, the guys have known Chimera for a long time. Mm-hmm. And obviously Austin was a part of that band. He has that relationship and everything. So we reached out and Mark was down to do it. And so we sent the track to him, and he fucking crushed it, man. It sounded awesome. We got everything mixed up, sent it back to Kevin. Kevin did, all the mixing on it and everything, and sent it to us. And we were all just like, holy shit, like I'm fucking 19-year-old, 20-year-old me is like I remember getting Pass Out of Existence, Chimera's first record, and I was like fucking 20, 21, 20 years old, dude, and blasted the shit out of it, and I'm like, that fucking dude from Chimera is on my song. That's crazy shit. You know what I mean? So it's like surreal, you know what I mean? But it's super cool, dude. And it came out great, and it's done great for us so far, and that's kind of how it all worked out, man. It was just super simple. It's, we hit him up, and he liked the song, and then he did all the videos. We flew out because we're all over the place, the guys Austin and Wayne live in California, Orange County area. Monty and I both live in Oregon. And then I'm in like Eugene, Oregon area. And then Kevin, our guitarist, lives all the way out in Tampa area in Florida. Nice. So we all flew out to California and shot the video for the Parasite. And then Mark Hunter did everything for the video in Cleveland. And then, we sent everything into Eric DiCarlo, the video director, and he put it all together, and shit. I mean, the outcome of the video was great. He did a good job on it. So,
yeah, the coolest thing about, and I say this all the time on podcasts and that, but the coolest thing to me about the internet and podcasting and the way things have become now is you are able to connect with those people, like you said, like getting that record and then it being surreal. I've got to interview I won't say most, but a large portion of my heroes. I did an interview with the band. It's a country rap band. But at the time, the guitar player for the band, after I finished the interview, he said, "Hey," he said, "aren't you a fan of Exodus?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Nice, dude.
Huge fan of Exodus.
Yeah.
He goes, "You want to interview Zetro?" And I was like, "Are you shitting me? Like, I'd love to, man, but have to go through his management." And Charlie's like, "No, dude, I manage his son's band, and he's singing for his son's band right now. I can get him on the phone for you." And I was like, "Okay,
man,
yeah, whatever."
Get out of town, dude.
I was like,
cool.
Whatever. He goes, "No, dude, seriously." He's like, "I'll have him call you." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I hung up and I went into the kitchen and started making dinner, thinking, this random guy was just blowing smoke up my ass. About 15 minutes later, the phone rings and I picked the phone up and he's like, "Hey, can I talk to CJ?" And I was like, "Yeah." I goes, "This is," he's like, "Hey, this is Nitro." And I was like,
and you're like, "I'm doing this now."
Yeah. And he's like, my dude said he wanted to do an interview, man. Are you busy? And I was like, "Nope, dinner can wait. Give me 2 minutes to turn the microphone on." And boom. And we talked for 3 hours, man. We talked like we had known each other our whole life, man. And
that's awesome.
The whole time I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is the dude who, if there was any one person who influenced me to want to do metal, to be a singer, to scream, to write songs with that combination of sarcasm and political tint and shit, it was this dude. Impact is Imminent and Toxic Waltz and just so many songs that I've basically badly ripped off with my own twist, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this dude, and he's, talking to me like he's known me my whole life, man. And I'm like, fucking crazy. And there's been dozens of other instances like that of people that I've idolized. I had posters on my wall when I was 14.
Straight up.
And that's amazing to me that the internet has connected people in that sense.
And allowed. It does. And it has made it to where, I mean, everybody's accessible in some way, as long as they're wanting to do it, it's definitely connected the world, I guess you could say. So
because I always say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have had to have gone through record labels, you would have had to have sent letters and wait to get shit back and go through all kinds of red tape and channels to make anything like this happen. And now it's a Facebook message. Hey man, writing a new song, want to blah blah blah, and send me the song. Boom, you send him the song, and 30 minutes later,
let's go.
He's heard the song and he's ready to go. And that's amazing to me because it's opened music in ways that, it allowed for combinations of sound.
Yeah.
Well,
there's so many ways to do it too. It opened up like not just like sharing songs or like platforms like iTunes or any of that shit, but even like Dropbox and all the different like DAWs that people have and all the ways to be able to do like audio recording at home and literally send files. Like you can as long as you like Google Drive, dude, you can open up, save the session in Google Drive and just share the ability, and literally almost in live time you can track and record as long as it's saved. Everybody can open it up. You know what I mean? And it's crazy.
And not only that, the genres of music that are being created now due to that. I mean, I thought for a long time, okay, when rap and metal started getting mixed, that was amazing to me. And then they started mixing rap and country. And then it was bluegrass and rap. And then it was country and metal. And now you have bands like Crossface who are mixing, super heavy shit like what you guys do with EDM stuff.
Right.
And you have bands that are mixing, mashup artists who are mixing like Willow Smith and Creator and Rat and Marvin Gaye. And
it's like everybody's influenced by something, man. So there's the sky is the limit.
Yeah. And I will say, you mentioned Devil Driver. One of the heaviest pits, one of the craziest pits I've ever been in was Devil Driver, man. Like Dez is a beast. And I thought I was gonna die in that pit.
I just took I'm gonna sound old because I am. I just took my kid. I flew out to Denver. Last week was I had my 44th birthday, and I flew out. My daughter's like, "Dad, I'm gonna get us tickets to this show." She lives in Denver, and nice. I'm like, "All right, cool. What show are we going to?" And it was the Chaos and Carnage tour with fucking Aborted and Born of Osiris and
nice.
Dying Fetus and fucking, you know what I mean?
Oh and man, there's a name I haven't heard in years.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was like it started at like 3:30 in the afternoon and went till like 11 at night, right? And my kid's fucking 20, dude, and right. So she's like, we go to the venue. She's like, we get there at doors. I'm like, all right, cool, let's go, kid. We get there, and I'm like, fucking, 40-something-year-old man, dude. I'm like, all right, let's all hang out. She's like, Dad, let's go. I got our spot, and we're going all the way to the front. So no shit, dude. From the minute the doors fucking the bands kicked it until the last band finished, I was just looking like, let's go. Like it was mosh pit. I hadn't been in a mosh pit in fucking 10 years, dude.
The craziest one, we'll go way back. Going back to the mid 90s, I was in a mosh pit for Malevolent Creation, and that was the first wall of death that I was ever in, that I was scared, that I physically felt that fear of, holy shit, I'm going to die in this thing because it was so nuts. Right. Then it was Devil Driver, and the newest one was Crossface. Crossface, you can't even describe the energy that band has. Like if you've never seen them or heard them, it is the most unholy thing. Like there was enough energy in that crowd to power a city. And they're from Japan. They're a Japanese band, and basically they're metalcore and EDM essentially. So like if Skrillex started a metalcore band, that's basically what they sound like.
All right.
And dude, I mean, it's just like you got the guitar player and the drummer and the singer over here just, and then you got the in the background, and the fucking beats are just bouncing, and people are like just back and forth, man. And it was like there was nowhere to move, dude. Like everybody was just moving, and it was like I was
That
just
sounds
like
like a great
trying
show.
to work my way out of it.
Just
And
like sardines and shit.
dude, it was like being caught in a fucking tidal wave, essentially.
Wow.
Like it just I was oh shit, I was 40. I was like 47 at the time when it happened.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
52 this year, so
Okay.
uh, but I was 47 years old, and I was just like, I am too old for this shit. Like,
Yeah, dude.
like I am definitely stand in the back type of guy.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't mind a good heavy show. But normally, I'm either as far back as I can get
Yeah,
or as
right.
far forward as I can get to avoid the middle part.
Right.
And but that crossface show, I mean, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I
Sure.
was so exhausted after that show, I couldn't even drive home.
Damn.
Like I was fucking physically drained.
I feel you,
And
dude.
I drove like a mile down the road to Denny's, and I went into Denny's and I ordered food. And I asked the manager, I was like, dude, just at the show, I'm fucking burnt to not
Yeah.
drive. Do you mind if I like crash in your parking lot for a couple hours? And he's like, yeah, pull around to the back by the back door, and I'll have my guys keep an eye on you. And
Nice,
it was
dude.
really cool. It was
Yeah.
like, so I stopped for a couple hours and then I drove home, but I would have never made it home. I had not been that drained from a show in decades, man.
Sounds
And
intense, dude.
yeah, it was nuts. And if you ever, I'm telling you, if you ever get a chance to see them, fucking incredible, Brand. Just so incredible. Like, um, anywho, so new record, or are you guys just gonna do singles or
I mean, like putting out like full lengths and shit like that. I mean,
yeah,
we did 3 already, dude, and like right now it's like with today's day and age and like the way
right,
that things like as far as like getting able to chart and shit like that, dude, singles
right,
are just like the way to go for us.
right.
That's like where we're at. Like
I think that's where a lot of people are. I mean,
like you
truthfully.
given it's just being with the way of the world these days, it's like singles are blowing up.
Mhm.
We're not giving out 12 songs at once for and giving everything out, and then we're back to the fucking drawing board. We could put out one song and let it ride for 3 months, and then put out another one and let it ride for
Right.
3 months or whatever, and be able to put out more often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the name of the game for us right now. Is like it's really like it's not, I won't say a rebuild because it's but it is a rebuild for us. Like we're trying. Obviously, the band dynamic is a little heavier. As far as the sound goes. We this is our this is it's a brand new feel. It's a brand new everything for us because of the new singer. So
Mhm.
I think that as far as we go and putting out music, it's just going to continue to be singles at this point.
I mean, I see a lot of the bands kind of going in that direction, and it makes sense in a way because, like you said, you work on a record 12, 13 songs, even if you do 10 songs, and potentially 3, maybe 4 of the songs become the focal point.
Right.
So the other 6 are kind of for those diehard fans that actually do buy records or do buy
Yeah.
physical copies. And
Yeah. It's
I
just
get the point, like,
and a lot of folks just don't do that anymore. They'd
right,
rather get it
exactly.
offline and download it off of whatever platform and have it, and I mean, will we put out a new record? Well, maybe, but I mean that really just
Right.
depends on how it all works out with like we're gonna put out this next song. We got, like I said, we got one more that we just released Soul Collapse, and then here pretty soon we're gonna release one more, and then we're gonna start maybe shopping again because, as I said, we are a DIY right now, and
Mm-hmm.
with promoting and marketing and everything else, everything gets expensive, especially trying to do it at the capacity that we're doing it at, so um, that's really where label would come in for us, would just
Yeah.
be helping with those things, and but as far as like putting out our music goes, like we really don't need a label for that anymore.
Yeah.
Labels are for distribution at this point. You know what I mean? But you get signed, they're going to want to put out a record. They're going to invest in you into something that they can sell. So if that happens for us, and once we start shopping and like try to really focus on that again, like if we get some bites and it's in the cards that they want a record out of us, then okay, that's a conversation to be had. But at this point, like it's easier for us to release songs one at a time and get the push on it. You know what I mean? Get everybody excited about it. So
yeah, I'm a firm believer that labels these days are, they're for the American Idol crowd, kind of like,
right.
I mean, if you're looking to be TikTok famous, or you're looking to be commercially viable for movies or shit like that, then yeah, labels are the way to go. But I'm seeing artists blow up that refuse to touch labels. And whether you like their music or not, I've got crazy respect for people like Tom McDonald and Jelly Roll, who these guys have avoided labels at all costs.
Yeah, the Jelly Roll's huge now.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I promoted a show with Jelly Roll and Haystack back in 2004 in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh wow, dude.
Nobody even knew who they were yet. They were still going by CWB. He still had long hair with the braids.
Yeah.
And now that he's blowing up, everyone's like, Jelly Roll this, Jelly Roll that. And I'm like, I've been telling y'all motherfuckers about Jelly Roll since 2004, bro. But nobody listening to me.
Right.
I was just some fat dude from Antioch, fat dude from Nashville. Oh, he raps about cocaine. Now everybody's a Jelly Roll fan. And I'm like, I've been trying to tell y'all, like, I told y'all about Creed Fisher before Creed Fisher blew up. I told you about Cole Wetzel before Cole Wetzel blew up.
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to listen to me though. Like, I'm just the music geek over here who lives and breathes this shit, and interview fans that I think are fucking incredible and should be popular, as opposed to mainstream garbage that they force feed you, like, because they're clueless. Like, I read the article earlier about Young Miami, the one who's dating Sean Combs, P. Diddy, however the fuck you want to say his name. And they asked her about her daughter. Do you want your daughter to grow up to be a city girl like you? Oh, no, I don't want her, nothing like that, blah, 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 blah. Well, then why the fuck would you promote that?
Yeah, right.
Like, do you realize as a parent that kids grow up to be what they see?
Yeah.
You literally call yourself in this interview, you call yourself a whore. I'm a professional whore. But then you say, I don't want my daughter to be that.
Yeah, well, they learn it from somebody, mainly their parents.
Exactly. So. Like I'm watching the interview and I'm like, you don't even realize how stupid you look and sound right now. Like, like, it's like saying, I'm a murderer, but I don't want my kid to grow up and be a murderer.
Right. Yeah, no shit, dude.
And I see it all the time with parenting. Like, parenting is not that hard. People say parenting is so hard. It's really not. It takes two things. It takes time and it takes attention.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, pay attention to what your kids are doing and give them time.
Right.
And they'll grow up and be decent human beings. Yeah. It's really that simple. Like,
it's just
that simple. It is. I've raised 5 of them.
Yeah.
Four boys and a girl. None of them have ever been to jail. None of them have ever been arrested. None of them do drugs. They're not murderers. They're not scumbags. And that's literally what I've done.
Yeah.
Play some games with them, take them to baseball games, show them that you give a shit.
Yep.
And pay attention to what they're doing, and they'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's kids are your biggest investment, man. That's it. You make that fucking choice to have kids, dude. You're responsible for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta own it, man. That's the problem. The problem with parenting is people just don't want to own it. Like, that's the thing. They think, this or that, or, I don't have to put the time into it, or, we just drop them off at the movie theater, or drop them off at the skating rink, or.
Yeah, and you wonder why they're fucking failing and getting pregnant at fucking 12 and shit.
Yeah, and I think back on it and I'm thinking, well, our generation, my generation, and partly your generation, when you hear about all the fucked up people from that generation, and you kind of look back and you say, you want to know why most of that generation is fucked up? Because our parents dropped us off at skating rinks and let us do what the fuck we wanted. They
Yeah.
didn't pay attention to what we were doing. Trust me, because
Right.
I ran wild at that age, man. Like
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
dude. What fucking I remember waking up and like just being gone for the whole day. Did I wake up and dip
yep.
out with my buddies and fucking be home by the time the lights come on outside? Okay. And we're fucking gone. No cell phones, no nothing, just gone all day
I
long.
was gone for entire weekends
You
and
know?
nobody gave a shit. Like
Yeah.
my dad was a truck driver, still is. At 52
Okay.
years as a truck driver. My stepmom, she worked in a bar. She didn't give a shit whether I come home or not.
Mm-hmm.
I spent more time out in the woods living in a tent than I was at home. And she didn't give a
Yeah.
shit. You know, I would come home and she'd be like, "Where'd the chicken go that was in the refrigerator?" I ate it.
Yeah.
Well, why'd you eat it? Because it was there.
Yeah, right. I was
What was it
hungry.
there for? Like, it's
Uh,
chicken. It's in the refrigerator. It's food. What do you
right.
do with food? You eat it. Well, that was for dinner. Well, I didn't know. If you'd be
Yeah.
home more, you would know. Yeah, well, if you'd be home more,
Yeah.
you know that I ate the fucking chicken. You know?
Right. Invest in what's going on with me.
Yeah. So it was, anyways, man. So give a rundown, I guess. Where do they find Bleed the Sky at? Like social media wise,
Yeah, sure. So we're on, I mean, we have, yeah,
video
we've
wise.
got videos, all of the video stuff is all on YouTube. We're on all the platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Pandora, whatever the hell you listen to. We're on all of those. You could find the music. There's the website, all the merch and all that. There's links for everything through every single platform we're on. So, and then that's really it, man. I mean, the internet. Find us on the internet, you know.
Yeah.
And then as far as shows go or anything like that, like I said, there's nothing booked right now. We're still working on it, but as soon as we have something solid, we'll be promoting the shit out of it and dropping it and getting
Nice.
behind it and ready to roll. But for right now, it's just it's the same old, pumping out songs and just trying to stay busy.
Yeah, I know the whole pandemic thing, man. It screwed with bands so hard, and
It was a bitch, dude.
yeah, like it's. I'm
We got
glad to see bands getting their bearing back
mhm.
and getting back out there, but I know financially, like,
Well, and everything's so goddamn fucking expensive now too, dude. Like,
yeah,
the gas prices across
everything.
everything, dude. The gas prices, renting things, like everything costs more to get it places, so it's costs more to do anything. You know what I mean? It costs more to get fuel to the gas stations. It costs more for the places to get food, so your prices of food are higher. Everything's higher now.
Yeah,
So,
it's
it's just all got to make sense for us, dude. Like
yeah,
we don't want to go out and make it not worthwhile for everybody involved, the venues, for us, for the fans, for everything. So
yeah. I know my friend's band just finished their tour. They did about 13 days and traveled from one side of the country to the other.
yep.
And I got back home and my buddy sent me a message. He's like, dude, we made $13 after everything. And I was like, ooh. And I was like,
Yeah,
ouch. I was
yeah,
like,
that's
bro, you
brutal.
guys took a hit. He's like, took a hit. He's like, fuck, he's like, I'm happy we just
Yeah, I'm glad we broke
on the
even.
positive side, like,
Yeah.
because he swore something happened about halfway through the tour that he thought they were going to be thousands of dollars in the hole when they got back home, and they ended up clearing like $13, which I thought was funny because $13,
Yeah, right. Hey, at least you're not in the hole,
$13.
dude. Fuck it.
But yeah, he was like, hey, we didn't owe money when we got home, and he's like, after the hit we took, I think it was in Denver actually.
Mm.
They had an accident and their trailer got messed up. The axle got bent or something.
Yeah.
Somebody sideswiped the trailer and it bent the tire and
Oh
the
shit.
inner part or the outer part of the axle by the tire, and it cost him like $3,000 to repair the
Jesus.
trailer to get going. And he thought, by the time we get home, we're gonna be so far in the hole, like, and
Well, lucky
they,
it didn't work out that way.
yeah, so they were really lucky. But no, I get financially, dude, like it is just everything, like hotels and food and
Yeah.
even clubs. I have a real issue with clubs now where I don't know if this is a new thing or not because it wasn't a thing when I was in a band, but
Are you got to talk about where they're taking your merch sales?
yeah,
Yeah.
like clubs taking a cut of merch sales. The fuck is that? Like,
yeah,
I never had to deal with that, and I tell you right now, excuse my language, but I would have told a club to go fuck themselves sideways because I was like, look, when you're paying for this merch, when you're going in on the designs, the cost of production, and everything else associated with this merch, you'll get a cut.
yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah, everything's crazy
giving
now, dude, when it comes to all
shit
that
money.
shit. Like there's, I mean, that, you sign up for it. Not every venue does it, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
there's definitely some venues out there that's like a part of the whole package deal. Like, but it all depends on what you're signing yourself up for too, I mean,
yeah,
that going into it, So it is crazy. Like, I mean, I come from kind of the old school of doing this too, and like
right.
never until we went on tour in 2020 did I ever have any venue ever take any of my merch. But
Yeah,
there were a couple of venues while we were doing our run that it was like a percentage of that went to it, and I was just like, holy shit,
yeah. That's
okay. But
yeah,
at the same time, like if the venue's pumping into filling it up for you, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like actually going in and putting the money in to push the show, then okay, I get it. If they're doing
yeah,
like radio and like shit like that, and actually paying in to build the show, and your
yeah,
guarantee is worth a shit, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Then it's a balance,
I
Um,
get it at that aspect, but the
but
problem
it's
is
like
the majority of clubs aren't going to do that. That's the
no, right. That's the fact of the
it's
matter. Yeah,
like
yeah,
the majority of the clubs, you're lucky if they'll even put your shit up
right.
in the club to announce that you're coming at all. So,
Yeah, you
um,
show up in the marquee says a different band's name.
yeah, or don't even know you're coming. That was
Yeah.
one of the shows. My friend, they showed up in Kansas, and apparently they were playing Tuesday night, and it was a brand new thing with the venue. They had never had shows on Tuesday night, and the bouncer told them there's no shows on Tuesday night, and my buddy's like, we're booked. Here's the information. And the bouncer's
Yeah.
like, I don't know anything about it. Talk to the bartender. Bartender didn't know anything about it.
Oh shit, what a nightmare.
Even the sound guy knew nothing about it. The owner had apparently started booking bands on Tuesday night and hadn't informed any of the crew that they were booking bands on Tuesday night now.
Holy
So they
crap.
thought it was just going to be like karaoke or open mic night.
Yeah. And
And
there's a
there was
fucking band showing up ready to
bands
rip.
showing up, and the bouncers are clueless. Sound guy's clueless. He's not even set up to do band stuff. Like he thought they were going to do fucking karaoke. So he's breaking out the, you know, $30 strobe lights and the shit like that,
Yeah.
the Kmart fog machine.
Right.
And here's these like giant fucking metal bands, black metal
Showing up with
bands showing up.
stacks and shit.
And he's like, fucking, then the owner shows up. The owner shows up like 40 minutes after the show's supposed to start.
Oh no.
And it was a clusterfuck all the way around. And my friend, he was so angry.
Oh
Like
yeah.
they hadn't
That's just
promoted it.
unprofessional.
Yeah, like they hadn't promoted it. There were no signs. And he said once the show started, he's like, it was weird. He's like, because like 200 people showed up for the show, but there was no promotion from the club.
Hmm.
I was like, well, I wonder what it was like on a normal night then for the regular
Right.
shit, because if that many people showed up unannounced, their normal
Yeah.
nights must have been like fucking crazy because
Right.
you're
Yeah,
lucky to get 200 people in the club on a good night. So,
yeah, right.
um, anyways, David, I want to say thank you so much, man, for taking the time to do this.
Oh dude, it was awesome.
For the listeners, Bleed the Sky is the name of the band. The new songs are Soul Collapse and The Parasite featuring Mark Hunter. Is there videos for both or just for The Parasite?
We've got a visualizer video for Soul Collapse.
Okay.
And then we did a performance video for The Parasite.
Okay, awesome. So you can find them. Type it into Google. Check these guys out. If you get out on tour, man, and you get to the Detroit area, I definitely want to come out and see you guys perform.
Absolutely.
Because, it's Detroit Rock City, man. You got to do
Yeah, got to do it. Yeah.
And there's some killer clubs over here, man. Like, we still do metal. You don't hear about it, but we still do it. I promise.
I know we're going to go straight. Our plan once we get everything booked out and lined out is to go all the way across. So go out for like a full, again, our schedule is like a month long. We're doing like 20 something dates. You know what I mean?
Nice.
But Cali to New York and cut back across probably halfway through the States, and then so depending on the routing, just keep your eyes peeled. But
no, super exciting. I definitely want to see you guys live. Like, it's been a while since I've seen a good metal show in a smaller club, or I wouldn't say a smaller club, but I guess a more local-ish type of thing, as opposed to
going out to a
festival.
Right.
Normally, big metal, the heavier bands that I see these days normally are at festivals, and I'm really not a fan of festivals because I hate massive crowds. But that's kind of what we get. Like, if we want to see Born of Osiris or anything like that, or anything that's
right
like that, we have to go to Blue Ridge or Upheaval or some shit like that. And we don't get like just smaller type shows like this would be, and more intimate shows where it's in your face and it makes you feel like you're 17 again. Because
my favorite kind, bro.
Yeah, like, shows where the wall sweat because it's fucking, that old punk grit, man.
I know it sounds gross, but like when you're getting slammed in the face with the hair whips, you know what I mean? Like all the sweat.
I miss those days.
Sweat flying all over you, dude.
Yeah. I miss those days of seeing like the Dead Kennedys and DRI in Gangrene and small ass clubs where you're shoulder to shoulder and arms and bodies
kind of
everywhere,
shows, man.
And just the power of those shows were, I miss that, man. Like, it wasn't even the era that much, so much. People think, oh, it's because of the era. It wasn't the era, man. There was something about their shows. There was something about I won't say the intimacy of them, but there was a brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Like, even if someone was trying to kick your ass in the pit, if you fell down, they were going to pick you back up and then knock you down again. So that's all part of the thing. It was like nobody left behind, and you stood up for each other. And if you were to walk out in the parking lot and got fucked with, everybody was coming out behind you and kicking the shit out of whoever it was. And I mean, it was this mentality that we had back then of, it was all for one and one for all.
Yeah, it's camaraderie.
Yeah. And you don't see it now. It's just nobody wants to know each other, and nobody wants to even talk to each other. And
a lot of it does have, we talked earlier about the internet being the way that everybody's just able to release, right. But it's also the internet's fault that it's like that too, because we're so able to just see all these things all the time. It's like a constant, there's a million things getting released every single day. So we don't have to go and have those tiny shows and to get, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's just not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? So like you were saying, dude, there's definitely a missing whatever you want to call it out there of that intimacy of having those,
just meeting cool people, used to be, that's why you went to a show. You met new friends at shows. You met people you would have never met otherwise. And I mean, some of my best friends are people that I met at shows that I didn't know before the show, and I ended up being friends with them because you had that mutual interest and you had that mutual love. And then you found out, hey, you also like this and this and this. And, I mean, I don't know, man. But anyways, this is Bleed the Sky. This is the Noize Report. I'm sure this gentleman has other stuff to do. So we're going to wrap it up. Check these guys out, and we'll be back next week.
Word.